it would seem that what the men who fought the war wanted to be remembered by was being victorious and not failing. Gallipoli, of course, is the obvious exception, but even that was described as a triumph in the language of Ellis, Ashmead Bartlett and C.W. Bean. It was a dramatic storming of the cliffs and the hanging on against the odds that was celebrated, not the fact that ultimately the Allies were pushed off the peninsula. And it is striking that today, when we talk about the soldiers who died in World War I, it's very much the language of victims and trauma. Scholars would say that to some degree it reflects the dominance of the Holocaust in modern memory. And in many ways, strange ways, the men who fought the war have almost become depicted as mere victims, non-consenting victims, and so mutineers and rebels become the sort of archetypal figure rather than the soldier. And it is, if you read, say, their memoirs or letters of Pompey Elliott, who commanded the 15th Brigade, what he was proud of was that his men were, forgive me, jolly good killers. He really boasted about it, that they could stick a bayonet through the neck and kill a man very cleanly and painlessly and easily. That's what he thought the Australians should be known for, not for having been suffering victims of war. But I would argue that if we really want to do honour, and our commemorative ritual suggests we should pay honour to the men who fought the war, we should remember the war in the way they saw it. And particularly we should acknowledge that they were fighting for different values to ours. The dominant narrative of World War I for many years has been one of futility. You know, a war that achieved nothing, that was fought by the classic depiction, lions led by donkeys, you know, by incompetent military commanders who were profligate with the men's lives. Well, of course, there's some good reasons for this, but it shouldn't be forgotten that Australia had very clear war aims in World War I. They included the maintenance of British global imperial power, the protection of the White Australia policy, the guaranteeing of Australian security in the Asia-Pacific, the defence of democracy against German tyranny and aggression, and the protection of the rights of small nations such as Belgium. I think why we struggle to recapture World War I in its entirety is because some of those values are so dissonant with our own. The racism of White Australia, which of course was a core national interest, at least for Billy Hughes, now is an embarrassment to us. And it's very hard for the young to understand the ideological and emotional loyalty to the British Empire that sustained so many Australians during the war. I say to my students that I stand before them like an historical artefact because I can remember it. We used to put the shamrock on Ireland. I'm not quite sure why we did that at school, because I don't think the Irish were very keen on that. But, you know, remember putting the wattle on the maple leaf? That is, of course, another lost world.